folks, it's Amy from Colorado Mountain Living. We are enjoying one of the more mild days this winter of early March. I think the official term is false spring. We know it's definitely not going to stay warm like this for long, but definitely having a mild, like a nice warm up in temperatures, enough to where I could be outside in a t-shirt with surrounded by snow but with the sun on me. So it's really pleasant right now, but it makes a good time to catch up on some early maintenance. And one of the first things I want to get to is checking on the bees, because they've pretty much been underneath the snow for a solid month. Like, and I mean completely buried. Like, the hives buried after one of the storms a couple of videos ago. I kind of dug them out on the front entrance, but since then snow's drifted in, and I've just not gotten out there every single time they've had the snow drift back in to clear them back out. So part of me is curious if they're still alive. So I'm definitely checking on the bees today and seeing if I can tell if both hives have survived to this point through the winter. It's been a very harsh winter up here. Not necessarily with freezing temperatures, but more with like the extreme wind and the amounts of snow that we've had. I've been talking to the locals, and everyone says this has been the biggest, most massive winter that they've had in many, many years. So I'm definitely feeling confident with that description of severe winter up here. But yeah, so I'm gonna take you guys over there to the beehives, check them out, and do a little around the house maintenance today. So pretty much this weekend, if you've seen the last video, Brian was working hard on the stairs treads for our staircase, and he's pretty much picking up where we left off last weekend, kind of finishing up a couple more treads here, getting and we really appreciated a lot of the comments from everybody, and he hasn't really seen all those yet, so he's still working away with his belt sander, planing down the treads there. So anyway, all his tools are out, and I'm going to head on over to the hives. So the way down to the beehive is still pretty snowy, pretty slippery. You can see the amount of snow. The hives are still pretty buried, but definitely weather like this is a guarantee that the bees are going to be out flying. I've just been so nervous about them because since we had the major snow, they've been completely buried up to the roof of the hive. They've just been totally buried. But as you can see, lots of bees flying around. I noticed earlier they were crawling out between that insulation there because the entrance was still pretty blocked with some snow. So they were actually crawling out up behind the insulation. So I kind of went in there, you can see my boot prints, just to kind of clear out the entrance of the hive, the fronts. I wanted the fronts to be a little bit more clear of the snow. But I guess apparently it doesn't matter. They've been buried for an entire month now, all the way up to I mean, those rocks were buried, guys. I mean, the snow's just barely melted. This hive, not quite as much activity, but still some. I saw some bees crawling out from behind there's one right there. Crawling out from behind the insulation. And so I'm led to believe that both hives are surviving so far. This extreme winter that we're having with all this snow. That's probably the most extreme that these bees have seen. But definitely Hive 1, I call this one Hive 1, has the most activity. Lots of bees flying around, landing in the snow, doing their cleansing flights. That's when bees take a bathroom break in the middle of the winter. And this hive has a little bit of activity as well. Sometimes what bees do when they have warm days like this is they'll take a bunch of their dead out of the hive and put them near the entrance. So once the snow melts, you can kind of see there's some dead bees there at the entrance, and that's the bees doing some housekeeping while they've got some warm temperatures. Because when it warms up like this, they don't have to huddle so much inside the hive. They can actually get out and fly around a little bit. It's quite warm in the sun. I have a jacket on, and it's actually perfectly plenty. So if it's warm enough for you without a coat, the bees are usually flying around. That's kind of the rule of thumb. So definitely pleased to be seeing the bees flying. What a relief, because with the amount of snow we've had this winter and the winds, I haven't been able to keep up with the snow removal. But I've looked at a lot of, Canadian blogs for people that keep bees, and everybody says the same thing. We're excited when it snows a lot and completely buries our hives because it's really good insulation for wintertime. Usually there's plenty of ventilation in a hive system, as long as it doesn't completely ice up and block off everything, that they get enough airflow in the hives. So I think that's what we've got a situation of here, guys. So they're looking good and really can't wait for spring. So you can see lots of melting going on, a lot of snow. We've had so much that there's still plenty around, but Vigo's very excited for playing in the snow when it's warm like this. Wanted me to take his ball. Yeah, let's take a look at the driveway. Remember how terrible it was last year. So one good thing is that the ice has melted off the driveway, but you can see we definitely have a state of a river. Lots of water flow coming down the drive here. It tends to want to flow to this side. So just the angle of the driveway, it tends to flow this way. But that definitely creates ruts, and this will be the year that we have the means to take care of this problem. We want to put down the crushed asphalt and do some of the geoengineering into the driveway to secure the asphalt so it doesn't wash away or plow away. So we're going to be dealing with this until through May, probably, all the melting snow, and we'll continue to get more snow, I'm sure, for a few more months. So I think this is what you call false spring up in Colorado. The house looks pretty nice from this angle. But yeah, it's a nice, mild winter day, but really, we know it's not going to last. Vigo's watching this bee that's getting close to his ball, and I hope you don't eat it. Do not! Vigo! This bee's taking a break on my hand. I think she's wondering why it's so warm. The warmest surface she's found. So here's an example. I had just cleared the snow away from this hive, and I can tell now that there are bees inside that are alive because since I've cleared the snow, they've put a bunch of dead bees down. So you can tell that they're cleaning out the inside of their hive because these are fresh dead bee bodies. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, both hives are alive right now, even though this one has a lot less activity. That's fine. I don't normally stick my finger in a beehive entrance, but just want to clear out the ice. And a few dead bee bodies on front of this hive too. Not too many, but the bees are doing their winter cleaning, so this is what they do. Oops, I don't want to step on them. Hopefully I didn't step on any. Usually they leave a trail, like these little brown spots I think it's bee poop, because when they come out the hive they have to let it all go. And those little brown spots could be forms of pollen, but it could also be bee poop. But yeah, big pocket of dead bees right there. That's usually when it gets warm enough, they clean house, and there's a bunch of dead ones. I got the bee's knees. I've got the bee's knees. It's kind of nice to be around them. I just forget that, it's been so many months since October, maybe even before that. Maybe it was September since I last went in the hive, so it's just, you forget that they're still alive in there. So they're kind of crawling in and out of the insulation there that I've got around it. Oh, walking back to the house and I see a bee that didn't make it. Looks like she's expired in my boot print down there. So I think the snow, it's a little too cold for them. It kind of freezes up their body systems. Yep, here's another one. Didn't make it. So just a little bit too cold for them. I wonder if she would come back to life. It got warmed up. Well, I found this one in the snow, and I picked her up, and I breathed a few hot breaths on her, and she's coming back to life. So I'll try a few more. See? She was just frozen in the snow. Now she's alive again. I think I'm going to go put her back in the hive. How about that? Hot breath resuscitation. Just a few hot breaths and a warm hand. I'm going to say she belongs to this one. Put her down on the styrofoam there. Okay, I found another rescue. This one's coming back to life as well. Looked like a goner, but look at her legs moving. Who knew I'd be using hot air to resuscitate bees, but seeming like she's getting ready, coming back to life. Who knows how long she's been passed out over in that friggin' snow pile. Don't know which hive she belongs to, though. She kind of looks like the coloring of this hive. The bee doesn't want to get off my hand because all the heat. Time to get back inside the hive, though. I wish I had time to save all the bees, but I don't have time to pick every single one of them out of the snow and resuscitate them back to life. But hopefully they'll appreciate that in some kind of memory, and they'll be nice to me this spring. So Brian just started up the tractor. He's doing another piece of spring maintenance. He's trying to break up all the packed ice that's at the top of the driveway, so I'm trying to get up there so I can see what he's doing. Fortunately, there's not much on this part of the driveway, but he does want to clear out the snow from the edges of the driveway as much as possible, because that's definitely where it tends to drift pretty badly. So this is the upper part of the driveway. You can see it's definitely softened up. It's not solid ice right now. It's more slushy, but it was solid ice. Pretty much every morning it's solid ice, so he wants to just kind of scrape this off so we don't have to have it soaking into the driveway as much as it melts. Look at that mud. Oh. I've got to say, one of the other drawbacks of springtime is because the snow is going away, we're getting more of the muddy tracks in from the dog and from people. And so this is, the part where I'm definitely vacuuming, sweeping, mopping twice a day, but it's not too bad right now. But when the driveway is completely mud, the floor is going to look a lot worse. So one of those drawbacks of spring that I'm not looking forward to. And I'm going to tell you guys what else spring means for me. So zooming in here on my workbench, getting ready for the season of art shows and craft shows. So right now I'm working on making rings. And I'll probably make another video about how I take a nice pretty stone like this. So we've got a nice green stripy stone here. We've got a whole variety of stones, but I take them, I do an epoxy treatment to them. So I've got a 2-part epoxy here. And then I put them onto silver bands that I've made. So here's an example of a silver band. This one isn't made into a ring yet, actually. Some of them are soldered or actually fused closed. And then I use a copper conductive paint. I've made some videos on my process before, guys, so it's kind of similar. And then the next part is I do an electroforming process. But anyway, so this is kind of what I've been up to on the weekends, is working on getting my jewelry started. I've been also working on earrings and things. But that's what spring means to me right now, is just getting everything ready for the summertime season, because there's a lot of work to be done to make enough jewelry to sell for the summer shows. And I'm already getting into shows, paying my money, so I need to make sure I've got plenty of inventory ready for that. So yeah, definitely exciting to see that the bees were not just alive and well, but that they actually are able to come back to life if they get reheated. So we wasn't sure about that, so I wanted to try it. I'm glad I got that on camera. Unfortunately, I just didn't really have the capacity to go around collecting all the bees in the snow pile and reheating them and putting them back into the hive. Sometimes you just have to suffer your losses, even if it's a handful of bees. So I'm glad. Hopefully the ones that I revived were able to kind of get back into the hive there. But so definitely looking forward. And the reason I didn't get into the hives, obviously, is because it's not that warm. 45, 50 degrees is just warm enough for the bees to fly out for some cleansing flights or to clean out the hive, but not quite warm enough for you to take the lid off and like put some more, you know, emergency food rations in. I'll have to wait for some warmer weather. But fortunately, everything's looking like it's warming up for the next couple of weeks. We're expecting 40-degree weather, so that's going to help kind of melt some of the snowpack and help us sort of manage the driveway as we get into spring here. So that's definitely one of the things on the list. And definitely appreciate all of the comments about the stairs from the last video. I know I haven't gotten to comment back on those yet, but you know, Brian's, you can see, as he's been working away on working on the stairs, and I think he's gonna like hearing some of those suggestions. So definitely a lot of good stuff there. We really appreciate everybody's feedback. Obviously, you know, it's a huge project, a big undertaking, but a lot of good advice there, guys. So we'll keep you posted, you know, through the coming week. I've got some more ideas of different types of videos I'd like to do. Definitely been busy the last well, it's the last few months here. I've been working full-time with my new job as a dietitian and health coach, helping people with diabetes. I do a lot of remote work from home. So, you know, it's fortunate I don't have to travel anywhere. I can work right on my computer, but it takes up a lot of hours in my day, so it's hard to produce and keep up with the YouTube videos. But, you know, I've definitely got some other ideas about showing you guys some of the stuff with the jewelry making, as well as I think I'm thinking of some health advice as well, doing some nutrition videos, because that's what I do on the day-to-day. So people really find that interesting too. I get lots and lots of questions about nutrition and food, and feel like that's would be some interesting topics to bring onto the channel, as well as the house updates, because right now, you know, our house updates are kind of few and far between with our projects being so big. There's not much going on day to day between us working our jobs. So anyway, just kind of rambling on here, folks, but hopefully you enjoyed the little update and you thought the little bee segment was cute with the little resuscitation there coming back to life. But we will keep you posted on the stairs especially, and how we're going to go forward with that project, and also with some of the trim work inside. So appreciate you guys coming along, and we'll see you at the next video.